Hi guys, I'm Aussie and welcome to episode 58 of the first star, the second star with Everton. And as you can see, I've decided that we will be staying with the club for at least one more season. The reason for that is that we haven't yet won the Premier League, so I do feel as though we have some unfinished business to attend to. So today it's a transfer special. All the action will take place right here in my office as we look to build a team that will not only retain our European crown, but also challenge for Premier League glory. So let's get to it. And here we go, it's the morning after, the night before, the morning after the end of season awards, and everybody's a little bit hungover as always, but we're going to try and push through here and build this team for next season. Now before we get too far into this, I just want to apologise if this episode does go long. Sometimes these end of season ones, the transfer specials, can go a little bit long, but I will try and sort of go through this as quickly as possible. Now, if we look at the team we have, I think the biggest problem we're going to have this off-season is keeping the players we want to keep. Because we can see Tars wanted by Barcelona, Digne's wanted by Chelsea, Milan and Real Madrid, Bixel's wanted by Napoli. To be honest, he's kind of done his job. He won us the Champions League. He's an experienced player. He's on a big money, 125 grand a week. I almost think for us, a 33-year-old, if we can sell him for what he's worth, 25-30 million, I think we might let him go, to be honest, even though he was the club captain, got the job done for us, but he's not getting any younger, is he? We can see Richarlison wanted by Arsenal and Manchester United. Sergio Gomez is wanted by Chelsea. Bernard is wanted by Arsenal and Milan. Now, the thing with Bernard, I'm not going to sell him, I don't think. He's 29, he's valued at 67 million pounds. If you were to get, 70, 80 million for him as a 29-year-old, it might be worthwhile, but I don't want to sell him. I do like Bernard. Rajkovic, this could be an interesting one. Wanted by Monaco. He's a backup goalkeeper. He's a really good backup goalkeeper, but I do wonder, we have some youngsters coming through the academy that are roughly at his level, could potentially become a little bit better. Not quite at his level now, but could potentially be a little bit better. So I do wonder if that's something we could do, maybe sell him on. Stark is wanted by Barcelona. Taimon is wanted by Chelsea. Stuart Taylor is wanted by teams we could probably be able to see off there. Rafinha, wanted by Arsenal and Barcelona. This is getting behind my head now. Sorry, I'll scroll that up so you can see. Rafinha wanted by Arsenal and Barcelona. John Joe Kenny is wanted by Manchester City. And then two down the bottom here. Anthony Robertson is wanted by La Coruña. To be honest, we'd sell him if they come in. What's he worth? He's worth 8 million. I would sell him for that, I think. He's a third choice left back. And Trevo is one you wanted on loan by MLS, so that's not a problem. So I think our big problem, as I said, this year is going to be just keeping the players we want to keep. The good news for us is that we are a 5-star rated club now, so that's all well and good. The one thing I did want to try and have a look at, actually, is if we can expand the stadium and or, if we can't do that, potentially leave Goodison. What do we want to say? Some modern, forward-thinking colour. We need a bigger capacity, don't we? Lack of ambition is disappointing. I can see us being left behind. I can't stress how important I think this could be. All right, I'm not going to risk the job. Do we leak it to the press? No, we probably shouldn't do that, should we? Yeah, I just feel like we need the bigger stadium capacity to probably offer the big deals. Now, the other thing. First of all, thank you for all the comments from last episode. It really helped me make a decision, knowing that you guys sort of wanted. I think that there was sort of two vibes. One was that we continue on this save. It seemed to be the general vibe, which I don't disagree with at all. Oh, Guardiola lost his job. And most people wanted to continue with Everton. I think that was the vibe I got. And to be honest, we haven't won the Premier League yet. I do want to try and win the Premier League with them. I mean, Brighton would be an interesting job. I don't want to go too far down the pyramid just because it takes a long time then to build the team up. And, let's face it, we're halfway to Football Manager 20, Football Manager 20 right now, aren't we? We're not going to have time to start completely fresh. Yeah, I mean, Brighton would be the only real job there, isn't it? Unless even if we go outside of England. Arsenal's not that much. Oh, I've already done Arsenal anyway, so I wouldn't want to do them again. Crystal Palace, I'm blind. Crystal Palace would be a really good job, I think, to get. I'm not leaving. This is just to sort of have a look. There's no other real teams there. Juventus have won it before, so there's no point playing as them. Atletico Bilbao would be an interesting challenge. Has Atletico Madrid won the Champions League? I think they have once, didn't they, back in the day, or maybe not. Nantes would be an interesting challenge as well. Real Madrid's won it before, obviously. Leicester, Wolves. There's some good, there's big teams out there, aren't there? So let's give it this season, and we'll see sort of where it takes us from here. Where do I want to strengthen? I do wonder if we could do a little bit better at left back than Digne. He's a 3-star player. He's really good and solid, but I do wonder if we could do a little bit better than that. The big question marks I have is more if we look at player appearances here. We know the players that played a lot. Dramé will come back for this year too, won't he? It'll be interesting to see how he's gone on okay on loan. He could be an interesting player for us. The main questions is down the bottom here. Now, Nick Hansen, could he be the backup? He probably could, but to be honest, we have better options in the youth team, and I'll get to that in just a second. Denny is a squad player, is a club player. It might be time. He's 22. We'll have to register him. It might be time to move him on. Gary Turpey's just coming in. I think we are obviously going to keep him. My plan is actually, I think we're going to get rid of Pennington so we can give these youngsters a more of a chance. Same with Bobby Carroll. I think what we'll do we'll get rid of... We don't think we'll get Denny Drinkwater back because I think he's taking up game time from Carroll and Toby Berg as well, who's coming along quite nicely, to be honest. Josh Bowler, we will keep him for now. He's sort of that 5th choice winger unless something better comes along. Robertson, we said we might get rid of. Trevo's staying. He's a really, really good young player. We said Rajkovic we might look to get rid of as well. Mason Holgate, now he was seriously injured this year, wasn't he? He missed a lot of the year, but I do wonder, his contract is up, isn't it? I don't think we're going to renew him. He only played 6 times. We didn't really use him, did we? And he's on 30-something grand a week, 33 grand a week. A good player, but I think one we could probably just about do without. Calvert-Lewin, again, he's on a lot of money, but I do like him, to be honest. He does a job for us. Denny Drinkwater's the one, isn't he? He's a good player. He played really well. Honestly, that last sort of April time when he came in was player of the month in the Premier League. Did a really, really good job. I think we need to make room for youngsters to come through. And I think, given that he's not our player anyway, we might need to just say goodbye to him. Adam Ololuokun was injured. He is sort of the 4th of our great wingers, I think. He's under any other team I think I've had, he would be sort of one of the stars. But we just so happen to have the 3 best Brazilian wingers in world football, it seems like. Pennington, we are going to get rid of him this year, I think. 18 million he's worth. If we can get anything close to that, I think we've done well. And that'll free up some room for the youngsters coming through. And everybody else up here does a good job for us, and I would like to keep. Youngsters that I'm talking about, now the first, if we start here in the under 23s, Joel Willoughby is a good young goalkeeper who I think could probably come in to play number 2. I think we have young goalkeepers that can sort of step up to play number 2. We do have other decent enough, like Ryan Astley's been close to getting into the first team break. I don't think he's actually ever going to be good enough for us. The only other one in sort of the reserves here is Stephen Fraser, who we sent out on loan to Aberdeen. I think he could come back in and do a job as a striker. There's nobody else really here. The other ones that we look for are down here in the under 18s this year. Michael Stevens, a good young goalkeeper, 16. I mean, he will be the number 2. Definitely next year. Promising young goalkeeper. We might even look to give him some games this year and try and just push his development along a little bit. Andy Ward-Kissock, I think, is a good young centre-back as well, who we need to sort of keep an eye on. I don't think he's ready for this coming season, but could do a job. Other ones down here, Dylan Chambers. Now, this is what makes me wonder if we need to keep Josh Bowler. We have Dylan Chambers, and there was a right winger as well, I think. Is it Paul Perry? Maybe the right winger's not coming through quite as much. But I do wonder if we can get by with them. And the other one, of course, here is Aaron Hampson. I think, even though he's only 15, he's a really highly rated striker. We might need to look to promote him up a little bit quicker than we otherwise would do. Warren Joyce as well is another good one. Patrick Baines as well. He's coming along nicely. So we do have some youngsters coming through the system as well, which is always good, isn't it? So I don't really know where this window is going to take us. We're just going to try and hang on to what we have, or who we want to hang on to, and we'll strengthen from there. So I'll come back when there is some news. Alright, so here is the commercial summary for this year. I always like to have a look at this. I always find it interesting because I guess I'm boring like that. Here we go. So the main kit sponsor, we have a most notable deal of a 3-year deal worth 58 million. The previous deal was worth 9.5. That's what being European champions can do for you. Wow. The overall sponsorship is up about $500,000 it looks like, so not too much, but that's still good, isn't it? We'll take that. Hospitality was up, match day income was up, prawn sandwiches apparently were running out the door last season. Broadcast revenue, it says it's down, it looks like it's about the same to me, 110 million, which is fine. And the competition prize money obviously went up because we won the Champions League. Shirt sales, Calvert-Lewin, most popular shirt sale. That does surprise me. That really surprises me, actually. Selke, Tom Davies, Bernard and Rafinha, those all make sense, don't they? 11 million to 11.5 million, with not quite half being non-domestic. So that's a lot of non-domestic sales, isn't it? And we sold just over 600,000 shirts. So Calvert-Lewin is probably worth keeping, just on the back that he is on the back of most shirts, I guess, isn't it? For a horrible pun. Anyway, let's look quick. We'll be back with some transfers, hopefully. So we are at June 14th. Pre-season has started and not much has happened. One thing of interest maybe to some of us is Stuart Taylor's coming under some interest. 25 million, 25.5 million. He's had a bid come in from Fulham, also from West Ham, which we've rejected. He's not going anywhere. The reason we're looking to get rid of Pennington is so that Stuart Taylor can step into his team spot in the first team, or the first, the sort of the first four defenders. Even getting players out, it's not proving to be very easy. We have offered around Matt Pennington. We've accepted an offer from Newcastle, raising up to 18.5. It's not as much money as I would like, to be honest. I would like maybe a little bit more, but it's roughly what he's worth anyway. It's what we're asking for him. It's not all up front, but I do think we just need to try and get rid of him at this point. And that's kind of it. There's been a couple of offers for Terry Cook on loan, but again, he's not going anywhere. I've kind of had a look around for, to see if we can strengthen. We could maybe strengthen at left back, but what I don't want to do is just sign players for the sake of signing players, and then sort of have a settling in period at the start of the season again, because I think that's kind of what got us a little bit last year. Was that slow start, wasn't it? So if Milan or Real Madrid or someone comes in with an offer for Digne, I'll show you who I'm thinking we could get in to replace him, but I'm not necessarily looking to sell him. It's just if it happens. I'm really happy with Taimon as English player as well. We do need to try and keep him, but the guy I've got my eye on, should someone come in for I've gone blank, Digne, is this guy here, Gulwame Arana. He's marginally better in a lot of ways than Digne is. If we go to compare, can we compare with Digne? Where is he here? He is just a little bit better everywhere except it's Digne it's the blue. So he's a little bit stronger in the air, a little bit stronger mentally, but everywhere else, Arana just about shades him. Now, what I do like about this is that he does have a minimum release fee of 37.5 million. So if we get, say, 50 odd million for Digne, we'll make a profit and I think marginally upgrade as well. So I'm just keeping an eye on him. There's some interest coming in from other clubs as well. So it's going to be one of these. I think Real Madrid obviously want a left back. So it could be one of these. Is do they want Digne? Do they want Arana? And if they do come in for our boy, then we'll go in for this guy. If Chelsea makes a bid, that's where it could become a little bit difficult for us. Then we might need to see if we can get an offer out of Real Madrid for Digne, and then go in if we need to. But anyway, it's been very quiet so far. Hopefully things will pick up. But like I say, I'm not trying to force signings here because I mean we won the Champions League. There's not that much wrong with our squad. Alright, we finally have some movement. Matthew Pennington has left the club. 15.25 million, rising potentially to 18.75. He's off to Newcastle, 27 years old. We didn't use him that much last season. As I said, Stuart Taylor came in and was a revelation. So he came through the club. It's a bit of a shame in that sense. But yeah, I mean, good luck to him. He played well when we did play for us. But I just think, we don't necessarily need him now. He's off to Newcastle. So yeah, something's happened this transfer window. Sally, see if Tim Cahill wants to play golf this afternoon, will you please? Hello. Ernesto Valverde, how are you, mate? Oh, good. You still at Barcelona? Fulham? When did that happen? Alright, fair enough. Now, how can I help you here, mate? Yeah, look, like I told you last time, mate, Stuart Taylor just isn't for sale. He's an Everton lad, and he's very... I'm sorry, how much? Now, I love each and every one of my viewers. You guys know that, right? But come on, this is getting tempting, Stuart. Would you blame me if I accepted a £73 million bid for you? $42 million up front. I mean, 40% of the profit... It wouldn't be a profit, I just don't think, for a centre-back. That is a lot of money for a defender. Never mind anything else, just for a defender. That is a lot of money. I'm going to reject it, mate, but I tell you what, if you weren't one of my viewers, I would be driving you to Fulham myself. Alright, we have our first new signing of the preseason, and it is Lionel Zamora, a midfielder, a wonder kid, a Mexican wonder kid. And basically, we have signed him because I forgot this is the weird World Cup year where we're going to have a lot of games. So I wanted to have just one more midfielder in there that was just high quality, kind of to replace Danny Drinkwater in a roundabout kind of way. But you can see here, passing, vision, teamwork, work rate, everything is there. Determination, decisions. I think he's got balance is good as well. First touch is amazing. I think he's going to do a really good job for us. He's on 82 grand a week, which is a little bit of a chunk of change. We only paid 25 million for him. Potentially rising to 45 million, but you'll see that's after 50 games, 50 goals. 50 goals is unlikely to get to be honest, sort of as a deeper midfielder. But then there's 10 million of that is if we win the Premier League and the Champions League. So I think we've done really well to get him for that. Other news, Anthony Robinson, it's looking as though he could be on his way out. We've had offers for him, 7.75, either Ipswich or off to Italy for him. Ipswich were promoted this year, I believe, so they're going to be a Premier League team. But yeah, he's third choice, £7 million for a third choice left back. Yes, please. Bastien Treveau, he's got some interest coming in on loan. We're not going to send him out because I think he could be one of the big players for us this year. A striker is something I have been kind of looking around for, but I just think Treveau or however you pronounce that in French, I mean, he's almost there, isn't he, to be a Premier League player as it is. So I don't really see the sense in spending big money to get another striker in, because I think Treveau, although he hasn't scored for Everton yet, I think he can do it. And then if we look at the squad outside of that for strikers, it's not bad. I mean, Terry Cook is just improving all the time. What did he end up getting last year? 15 league goals, 11 goals, what was it altogether? 15 goals last year. So he's improving all the time as well. So he's a really good striking option as well. Again, another wonder kid. Add to that, obviously, Davy Southgate. We've got Calvert-Lewin as well, who's just doesn't let us down, does he? He always gets the job done, it seems like. Could we do with a fifth striker? If we're only playing one man up top, I don't really think it matters. We could play Richarlison there if we had to. We could also play Vlasic there if we had to. So I don't really think there's a need to bring in another striking option. Otherwise, there's not too much that's really going on. Yeah, we've called Michael Stevens into the first team. He's away with the England under-19s right now. There hasn't really been any offers come in for Rajkovic, so I don't think anything's going to happen there. His contract's up the end of this year. So I'm talking myself slowly into, we're at July 4th now, so I'm slowly talking myself into maybe selling him because we're probably not going to renew him. And as I say that out loud, it just makes more and more sense. That would leave us then with Nicholas Hansen, who is, as you can see, a decent enough option probably for a number 2, and Michael Stevens as well, who's going to be a really good goalkeeper himself. So between them as number 2s, I think we could probably get away with it. So Rajkovic, I might look to sell him. I think I've talked myself into it. So I'm glad we've had this conversation. The other thing that's happened is we've released players. The only real big one's Mason Holgate. I just don't think we were going to use him. He was on 30 grand a week. He'll find himself a club. He'll go to another Premier League team. Where's he going? Glasgow Rangers. Well, good for him. Let me know what you think in the comments. I just think, I don't think he's a bad player. Not at all. But he was on 33 grand a week. I feel like we have better central defenders. I feel like we have better right backs. So there's no real need to keep him at that point, is there? He was the only real one. The only other one that we kind of had a bit of a look at in the first team was Shane Levery, but he was never going to cut it. We flirted with Anthony Evans for a while as an attacking midfielder, but again, he was never going to make it. So the only real big one to let go or release was Mason Holgate. And Danny Drinkwater's left the club as well on loan. His loan's finished. I thought about signing him. We could have signed him for about 12 grand a week. I did consider it, but I think Zamora overall is the better option. Could we have done with Danny Drinkwater for just this season? Perhaps. But anyway, that's all for now. I'm not sure how much more signings we'll do. I'm sure there'll be something. There always is. Okay, we do have another departure. It's Rajkovic, 8.25 off to Nottingham Forest. Again, another Premier League team for this year. He was just always second best, wasn't he? He was second behind. Well, we gave him a few games here when Pickford was going on one, but he's not going to ever be a first choice goalkeeper for us, is he? So off he goes. We made a nice little profit on him as well. So he goes off to Nottingham Forest. The other thing that has just happened is Timon has come under some attention of West Ham, potentially a £26 million fee. We're not going to sell him because he's English and he's a really good option. What I'm not thrilled about is this new contract. The agent's asking for a double your money contract. So we're going to see if he'll just sack the agent, because I feel like he's annoying me, mate. There we go. Agent's gone. Contract's been saved for now. And Timon is relatively happy. Anyway, guys, if there's anything else, we will be back. Okay, it is now transfer deadline day, and we do have a few other signings to unveil here. First up, this is one that the director of football found, Paul Bernardoni. He's a goalkeeper, 25-year-old goalkeeper. He is here just to be the number 2, basically. That's all he's going to do. I feel like the guys that we have, Hansen and Michael Stevens, I haven't had a chance to play Michael Stevens yet because he's been away with England on 21s, and the 19, sorry. But I just feel like Bernardoni here is going to be a good, solid backup. We picked him up for next to nothing. What was it? 650 grand, 675,000 grand. You can see there. He's already valued at 9 million. My kind of plan for this is just we'll keep him for this year and then we can sell him on and we're going to make a profit on him. We're paying him 19 grand, which is less than we were paying Rajkovic to be back up. So yeah, I think that's just a sensible move. He's literally nothing other than a backup, but he'll do a job for us. And then a double signing on deadline day. Bouvier, I guess you pronounce that, of Clan Marjorie Simpson, I think. I don't know. I think that's how she spells her maiden name, isn't it? Anyway, this is just a really good young winger. You can see he's rated as a wonder kid. And my plan for him is just basically just progression. We know that that Bernard's moving on a little bit in terms of age. This guy will just come through and just take his place, basically. That's the plan, sort of the long-term successor next in the great line of wingers that I think Everton has become famous for under our reign here. He's valued at 18 million. I think we paid 7 million for him all in. I don't think there's any. You can see his contract there. We're not paying him too much. Again, 19.5 grand a week. 7 million all in. I think he's just a good young winger to bring through the club. So that's the 2 deadline day signings. I don't know if there's going to be anything else. We have had a couple of departures, but we'll get to that when we wrap up in just a second. So there is some deadline day drama here. Arsenal have come in with a bid for John Joe Kenny, £50 million all told. We're not going to accept it, although he is kind of second choice behind Milo at this point. He's a very, very good player, so we're not going to accept that. Hopefully, he won't kick off. So Kenny hasn't kicked off, but Arsenal have come back in a £62 million bid. Again, it's too late in the window now to be accepting these things because we don't have time to replace him. So we're going to have to reject it. But Arsenal are getting to the point where they're twisting my arm a little bit. Terry Cook was wanted on loan. A lot of the sort of lower Premier League teams have been looking to get him on loan. Obviously, he's not going anywhere. So the transfer window has now come to an end. You can see the big transfers of the window here. Gelson Martins went to Chelsea. Hector Bellerin went from Arsenal to Manchester City. And Maitland-Niles, again, from Arsenal to Manchester City. So Manchester City strengthening at the expense of Arsenal. They spent £191 million, which is a lot. And the major failed moves you can see there. Dele Alli, it looked like he was going to go to Manchester United for a while, but that didn't end up happening. And obviously, as we just saw, John Joe Kenny to Arsenal. Obviously, they were trying to get someone in to replace Bellerin. We weren't going to let him go so close to the end of the transfer window. Now, let's have a look at what we basically did. It was a little bit quiet, wasn't it? We did have £100 million to spend. We didn't really spend anything, to be honest. We've only spent £1 million sort of overall. The major outs, well, Jim Robinson wasn't really a major out. He's just a youngster we sent out on loan. Matthew Pennington, it was early done, wasn't it? But he's gone off to Newcastle for 15.25 million. This was just a no-name young player that we released. Anthony Robinson went to Bologna in the end for 7.25 million, which is good. Rajkovic, we know we sent him off to Nottingham Forest for 8.25. Alex Denny, the young midfielders, I did say I think maybe his time had come to an end at the club. We sold him to Hearts for $500,000, so he's gone off. And then you can see we sent out a couple of youngsters on loan. This guy's contract's up the end of the year, or the end of next year. I don't think he's ever going to cut it, but we sent him out on loan anyway. Seb Quirk, again, I don't think he's quite going to make it for us. Physically, he's good, but he doesn't really have anything else. But we'll send him out on loan to see how he does in it was League One. And then Kevin Brown-Cliff here. Promising winger. We've sent him out to the Championship on loan. He's only 18. There could be a player in there for us. So we'll see how he gets on in the Championship. Hopefully he'll come back to us a better player. And the ends, the big one was Lionel Zamora. Really good deep-lying playmaker sort of player. You can see he's got good dribbling and finishing. He could probably play as a Mazzella as well, to be honest, and we could look to get him forward a little bit more. Just a good all-round midfielder, I think. So he's going to do quite well for us. 25 million from Club America in Mexico, potentially rising to 45. And as we've just seen, Paul Berladoni, very much a backup goalkeeper, but we got him for next to nothing, and we'll sell him on when the youngsters coming through are ready. And again, Adrian Bouvier, again, just a young, really good, I think, young midfielder, or winger, I should say. We'll probably play a little bit this year, maybe in the Cups, things like that, but more one for the future. We might even potentially look to send him out on loan if we can get him out to Ligue 1, send him back to France on loan or something to get football. But yeah, 7 million we paid for him is already, as you can see, valued at 18.5, so I think he will do quite well for us. Now let's have a look at the team of this season that we have coming into, or the squad anyway. Tripped over my words a little bit there, but here we are. Now, I know we didn't make... Let me know what you think in the comments. I know we didn't make too many signings, but I think what we do have is young players that are going to continue to get better. Now, we know Davy Selke, he's going to lead the line for us. He's an absolute beast. He's been a star of the team, hasn't he? So he's, I'm sure, going to continue in that vein going forward. Calvert-Lewin, it says he's the second best striker at the club. I don't think he is, to be honest, but he's never let us down. Of course, he came through the academy, or near enough to it anyway. So it's good to keep him in the squad. These are the two, though. Terry Cook, I know it says right now his attributes are declining. It's been a really strange preseason because we have the Winter World Cup coming up. So it's all been very, very sort of close together. But he's rated as a wonder kid. He scored 15 goals for us last year. I think he's only going to continue to get better. So that's good. And then this is the main reason why I didn't look to go big on a striker, is because I think Bastien Treveur is primed now for a really, really good season. Look at the off the ball at 17. Physically, he's just really, really good. He's only 18 years old. He's only going to continue to get better. His finishing's good. His composure's amazing. I think he could be the one this year, but that actually steps up and could even challenge Davy Selke as the first choice striker in the club. So he'll do really well. Wingers, we know our wingers, don't we? They can all play both sides. There's no need to strengthen there. I really don't think. I honestly think we have 4 of the best wingers in the game. So between Bernard, Richarlison, who has a new contract, you'll notice Richarlison, 150 grand a week. It's a 5-year contract, I think, so that takes him up till he's 30. So we can reassess things then. And Rafinha as well. He's just been an absolute star for us. Rafinha's been a little bit... He struggled to come back from his injury, to be honest. He got injured again in pre-season. He's only played, I think, 1 friendly, and that was about 60, 70 minutes. So it's a little bit underdone coming into the year, but we saw what he can do for us last year. And then Ademola Lookman, honestly, he's... Any other team, I think, in the Premier League, he would be a regular starter, and he's just behind 3 of the best. And then Calvert-Lewin, again, he can play out wide. He's just a good all-round option to have. The number 10 role, there's really 2 main options. Sergio Gomez, who is just continuing to get better and better and better, and Vlad Zic as well. We have 2 really, really good number 10s. Toby Berg can play in there, to be honest. I've got him bookmarked to play a little bit deeper. I don't think he has the dribbling and the finishing to play in the number 10 role, but he can do it, and that's always good. Deeper lying midfielders. Well, Sergio Gomez, we know again, we saw in the Champions League last year, he can play back there. Canete is one of the big ones, isn't he? He is just continuing to improve, and he is becoming a world star very, very quickly. Sander Berg, he also has a new contract now. He's on 85 grand a year. said he's a world-class midfielder. He's just an all-round midfielder. We can play him here. We can play him a little bit deeper as a DM. I just really, really like him. He's a good all-round squad player. Nikola Vlasic can play back here if we need him to, but I think he's more of a number 10. And Bobby Carroll, he's basically, by letting Denny Drinkwater go, it does open up a space for Bobby Carroll. Although, of course, having signed Zamora, that kind of takes away that chance just as quickly, doesn't it? Because he is a very, very good player. Tom Davies, we know all about Tom Davies, what he can do. He was a little bit quiet last year, but I do think he can still do a really, really good job for us. Axel Witsel, he did end up staying. We did kind of offer him around, but no one really came in with a bid that was really worthwhile. So we'll keep him. He's club captain, so, if we have to keep him, it's not a bad thing, is it? Stuart Haley, this is a guy that I've called up into the senior squad from the under-23s. I think he's ready to, you see physically he's really good. He's actually not too bad all round. I think he's probably ready to step into the first team, even if he doesn't play that many games. And of course Toby Berg as well, as I just said. This is more, I think, his area of the field to play in. Defenders, we have 6. Well, we have with some really, really good defenders. We have 5 because I've got who's here twice. Stuart Taylor's here twice. So I'll try not to show him twice here. But we know that Tar is an absolute beast. We know that Luis Felipe is an absolute beast, and we know that Nick Stark is also an absolute beast. Stuart Taylor showed last year he can step in and be that fourth choice defender. And then in the team, ready to step up if we need him this year, is Gary Turpie. I think he's just about ready to just start making appearances off the bench, just start and feed him into the first team where we can. Left side of defence, we did end up in the end keeping Digne. His contract's up the end of this year. He wasn't interested in negotiating a contract. I tried to get some bids out of, I think Madrid and Paris were interested in him. They were only really offering what he's worth, so that 40 million mark, which I wanted a little bit more than that. So we'll try and offer him a new contract and keep him at the club, and if not, we might need to look to get rid, we'll struggle to get rid in January with 6 months left on his contract, but we'll see what we can do. I'm confident as European champions, we should be able to keep him, but we'll see how we go there. And of course, Taimon as well, an absolute star in the making, I think. Taimon, he was really, really good for us last year. On the right side, John Joe Kenny, we did end up having to offer him a new contract to keep him happy after that Arsenal bid. He'll be on about 100 grand a week, but a 5-year deal, and that ties him up till he's 30. And he is a really good right back. Unfortunately for him, he'll be on 100 grand a week, but he'll end up being second string to Loic Milo, to be honest. He is an absolute star in the making. Of course, played in the Champions League final last year, let's not forget. At 18 years old, an absolute just star, as I said. And Jermaine, we're going to keep him this year. He'll come in, he's sort of the third choice right back. And again, I think he's a really good option there as a third choice. So we'll see how he goes. Goalkeepers, we know about Lafont, a world-class goalkeeper. I think he was one of the big reasons we won the Champions League last year. He's only going to continue to get better, according to the scouts. Could be another 4.5 star goalkeeper. So really, really good to have him here. Bernardoni, as I just said, he's here as a backup for this year. Nick Hansen, I toyed with keeping him as backup. I just feel like we need someone a little bit better, just in case Lafont gets injured. And then Michael Stevens, 16, he'll actually end up being our number 2 by the end of this year, I think. And then we'll look to sell Bernardoni on, but an absolute star in the making. So that is the Everton team for the 22-23 season. Hopefully, we'll manage to. This will be a good enough team to challenge for the Premier League. I think by keeping the squad roughly the same and just sort of strengthening, well, really only with Zamora, hopefully we'll be able to get off to a quick start, because it was a slow start last year in the end that cost us the title. And I think we've seen that this team is good enough. Well, we won the Champions League. We know we're good enough to challenge in Europe. We just need to do it week in, week out in the Premier League, and I think that we can do it. Let me know what you think in the comments, though, guys. I'm sure you're happy that we are staying with Everton for at least one more year. So if you have enjoyed this episode, please do hit thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you know when I upload new episodes. And just a very, very quick thank you to one of my new Patreons, just Danny. Vague, I like it, but thank you so much, mate. Your Patreon link is down in the description there. But until not tomorrow, next time, that'll be on Thursday. We'll get our season underway. Our first game of the year in the Premier League season on July 20-something, because of the Winter World Cup, is against Nottingham Forest, newly promoted Nottingham Forest. So I'll see you for that one. Take care.